Oh man. You won't believe the petty revenge I pulled on my nightmare of a neighbor after months of them stealing my parking spot right in front of my face. I mean, picture this. I come home exhausted from a 12-hour shift, dreaming of crashing on my couch, only to find their rusty old sedan smugly sitting in my assigned spot again, like it owned the place. So, in a fit of rage one night, I snapped a few photos of their car, hopped online to a popular classified site, and listed it for sale at a ridiculously low 500, complete with their license plate visible and a description that said, "Runs great. First come, first served." No questions asked. The calls started pouring in the next morning, and let's just say, my neighbor's day turned into absolute chaos. Was I wrong for stooping to that level? Tell me in the comments. Would you have done the same if someone pushed you that far, or am I the villain here? Let me take you back to the beginning, because this didn't just happen out of nowhere. It all started about a year ago, when I moved into this cozy little apartment complex in the suburbs. I was fresh out of a bad breakup, needed a change of scenery, and this place seemed perfect. Affordable rent, decent amenities, and best of all, assigned parking spots. You know how it is in these older buildings. Parking is like gold. Each unit gets one spot, marked with your apartment number painted right on the asphalt. Mine was spot 17, right near the entrance, which was a godsend because I work as a nurse at the local hospital, pulling night shifts that leave me dragging my feet by the time I get home. I remember the day I moved in, hauling boxes up the stairs with my sister helping me, and I thought, this is it, a fresh start. Little did I know, distance. The drama was lurking just across the hall. My neighbor, let's call them Jordan. Yeah, Jordan lived in apartment 19 right next door. At first, they seemed harmless enough. I'd see them in the hallway sometimes, a middle-aged person with a perpetual scowl, always rushing out with a briefcase or something. We exchanged the usual nods and hellos, nothing more. But it wasn't long before the parking issues started. The first time it happened was maybe 2 weeks after I settled in. I came home around midnight after a brutal shift, dealing with emergencies all night, my feet aching, my back screaming, and there it was, Jordan's beat-up blue Honda Accord parked smack in the middle of spot 17. I checked the numbers, thinking maybe I was too tired and misread it, but nope, clear as day. Their spot 19 was empty just a few feet away. I figured it was a one-time mistake, so I parked in a guest spot way at the back of the lot and trudged to my door. The next morning, I knocked on Jordan's door politely. They opened it looking annoyed, like I was interrupting their coffee ritual. "Hey, I think you parked in my spot last night," I said, trying to keep it light. "Oh, sorry about that," they mumbled, not sounding sorry at all. I was in a rush. I nodded and said no big deal, and that was that. Or so I thought. A couple of days later, it happened again. Same car, same spot. This time I left a note on their windshield. "Neighbor!" This is spot 17 for apartment 17. "Yours is 19, thanks." I even added a smiley face to keep it friendly. No response, but the car was gone when I checked later. Problem solved. Right? Wrong. Over the next few weeks, it became a pattern. Jordan would park in my spot, maybe once or twice a week, always late at night when they knew I wasn't home yet. I'd come back, sigh heavily, and either park in guest parking or, if those were full, on the street, which meant risking a ticket from the city. I started feeling this slow burn of frustration building inside me. Why me? There were other spots they could have taken if they were too lazy to walk the extra 10 feet to their own. I talked to the building manager, an older guy named Mr. Ramirez, who was nice but overwhelmed with complaints from everyone. He said he'd send out a reminder email about parking rules, but that was it. No enforcement, no towing threats, nothing. The email went out, and for a glorious week, Jordan parked correctly. I thought, okay, maybe they're getting the hint. But then, bam, right back to it. One night, I got home early and actually caught them in the act. I pulled into the lot just as they were locking their car in my spot. "Hey, it's Jordan," I called out, waving. They turned, saw me, and froze for a second before shrugging. "Oh, is this yours? I thought it was open." I forced a smile. "No, it's assigned. Remember, we've talked about this." They just waved it off. It's late, and I'm tired. You can park in mine tonight. And they walked away without another word. That interaction left me fuming. Who does that? It's not like their spot was farther away. It was literally adjacent. I vented to my best friend over the phone that night, pacing my living room. It's the principle of it, I said. They're just entitled, thinking rules don't apply to them. She suggested confronting them more firmly. Maybe involving other neighbors. So, I tried that next. There was a small group chat for the building on WhatsApp, mostly for stuff like maintenance updates. I posted a general message. Hey everyone, just a friendly reminder to stick to our assigned spots. It makes life easier for all of us. A few people liked it. One even replied with greed, but Jordan, silent. And sure enough, the parking theft continued. Now it was almost every other day. I'd find little excuses in my mind. Maybe they're having a bad week. Maybe their spot has a pothole or something. But deep down, I knew it was just laziness or spite. As the months dragged on, this started affecting my life more than I wanted to admit. Winter hit, and parking on the street meant scraping ice off my car in the freezing cold. Or worse, getting snowed in. One particularly bad storm, I had to shovel my way out after parking blocks away because guest spots were taken. My shifts at the hospital were getting more intense too. COVID surges were over, but we were short-staffed, and coming home to this nonsense was the last straw. I remember one night, after losing a patient, I pulled into the lot with tears in my eyes, just needing to collapse. And there was Jordan's car again. I sat in my vehicle for 10 minutes, gripping the steering wheel, feeling this rage bubble up. Why couldn't they just respect basic boundaries? I knocked on their door that night, louder than before. Jordan answered, looking irritated. What now? They snapped. Look, this has to stop, I said, my voice shaking a bit from exhaustion and anger. You've been parking in my spot constantly. It's assigned for a reason. They rolled their eyes? Actually rolled them? It's not a big deal. The spots are basically the same. Why are you making such a fuss? I couldn't believe it. Because it's mine, and when you take it I have to park far away, and it's inconvenient as hell. They crossed their arms. Well, maybe you should get home earlier. Distance. Or talk to management if it's such a problem. And they shut the door in my face. I stood there, stunned, feeling my blood boil. That was the moment I realized politeness wasn't working. This person was a bully, plain and simple, the kind who thrives on pushing people around because they can. From there, things escalated in my mind. I started documenting everything, taking photos of their car in my spot with timestamps, emailing Mr. Ramirez with evidence. He promised to look into it, even said he'd talk to Jordan personally. A few days later, he told me Jordan claimed it was accidental, and they'd be more careful. But of course, it happened again that very weekend. I considered calling a tow truck myself, but the building rules said only management could authorize tows, and Mr. Ramirez was hesitant because we don't want neighbor disputes turning ugly. Ugly. It was already ugly. I confided in another neighbor, Mrs. Patel from downstairs, who sympathized. Oh, Jordan's always been like that, she said over tea one afternoon. They did the same to the previous tenant in your unit. Parked wherever they wanted, blasted music late at night. The guy moved out partly because of it. That revelation hit me hard. So this wasn't just me, Jordan was a serial offender. I tried one more peaceful approach. I baked some cookies. Yeah, I know, cliché. And left them at their door with a note. Hey, let's bury the hatchets. Can we agree on the parking? Cookies as a peace offering. No response, and the parking continued. That's when the resentment really set in. Every time I saw their car in my spot, I'd imagine all sorts of revenge scenarios. Keying it, but I'm not that destructive. Putting sugar in the gas tank too illegal. Or just blocking them in. But I held back, telling myself to be the bigger person. Work was stressful enough, I didn't need legal troubles. But the toll it took on me was real. I'd lie awake some nights, replaying conversations in my head, feeling powerless. My sister noticed during our weekly calls. You sound exhausted, she'd say. Is it just work? Or is that neighbor still at it? I'd rant for half an hour, and she'd suggest moving, but I loved my apartment otherwise. The view, the quiet, the proximity to the hospital, distance. Spring came, and with it more incidents. One day, I had a rare day off and decided to wash my car in the lot. Jordan pulled up while I was there, saw me in spot 17, and honked impatiently like I was in their way. They parked in their own spot for once, but not without giving me a dirty look. It was petty, but it fueled the fire. Then, the breaking point, I hosted a small birthday dinner for myself. Nothing big, just my sister, best friend, and a couple of coworkers. I told them to use guest parking, but by the time they arrived, Jordan had taken my spot again, and guest spots were full from some building event. My friends had to park on the street, and one even got a ticket. That night, as we ate cake, I vented the whole saga. "I'm done," I declared. "Next time, I'm doing something about it." My best friend laughed. "Like what? Sell their car?" We all chuckled, but in my mind the seed was planted. So that's the situation I was in, folks. Months of build-up, endless frustration, distance, and no resolution in sight. I felt trapped, like Jordan was winning by wearing me down. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and think about it. Put yourself in my shoes, exhausted from work, dealing with this entitled jerk day after day. What would you have done? Would you keep trying to talk it out, move out, or finally snap and get even? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear if you'd go as far as I did, or if you have even better ideas. Alright, here's where it gets wild. A few days after that birthday fiasco, I came home late again, around 2 a.m. after an emergency shift, and sure enough, Jordan's Honda was in spot 17. I parked on the street, stormed inside, and that's when the idea hit me like a lightning bolt. My friends' joke about selling their car echoed in my head. Why not? Not for real, of course, but enough to cause them some hassle. I grabbed my phone, snapped photos of the car from every angle, making sure the license plate was clear. Then, Craigslist. Yeah, the go-to for quick sales. I created a listing, 2008 Honda Accord for sale, 500 OBO. Runs great, low miles for its age. Minor cosmetic issues but mechanically sound. Cash only, first come first served. Located in Tyre Town, call or text. I left a fake number, but wait. No, I actually used Jordan's number. Wait, no, that would be traceable. Actually, in my rage, I thought better and used the site's messaging, but described it so people would show up. Wait, let me be honest. I didn't put their phone number, that could backfire. Instead, I said, contact me via email for viewing. But I used a burner email I set up quick, and I added, parked at higher address, spot 17. Come check it out anytime. I hit post, and my heart was pounding. Was this too far? Maybe, but after all those months, it felt justified. I went to bed with a mix of guilt and satisfaction, wondering if anything would come of it. The next morning, I woke up to chaos outside my window. I peeked out, and there were 2 guys circling Jordan's car, knocking on the building door, looking confused. Jordan came out, disabled in pajamas, yelling at them. "What the hell? This isn't for sale!" The guys argued back, showing their phones with the listing. "It says right here, 500, spot 17. Jordan's face turned red. They were furious. More people showed up throughout the day. I counted at least 5 groups. One even tried to haggle with Jordan on the spot, offering 400 cash. Jordan had to explain over and over that it was a prank, but some didn't believe them, thinking it was a scam. I watched from my window, sipping coffee, feeling this rush of vindication. Finally, they were the ones inconvenienced. By afternoon, Jordan was on the phone with someone, probably Craigslist, trying to get the ad removed. But those sites take time, and the listing stayed up for hours. They even called the police at one point. I saw a cop car pull up. The officer talked to Jordan, looked at the car, and from what I could overhear, said it sounded like a prank, but they'd look into it. No arrests or anything dramatic, just more hassle for Jordan. That evening, distance. They moved their car to their own spot and put a sign on it. Now far sell. I couldn't help but chuckle. The ad got flagged eventually, distance. But not before Jordan spent the whole day dealing with tire kickers. The aftermath was glorious in a petty way. Jordan knocked on my door that night, accusing me point blank. "I know it was you." "Who else would do this?" I played dumb. "What are you talking about?" They ranted about the listing, how it matched my spot number, but I shrugged. Sounds rough. Maybe park in your own spot next time. They stormed off, but from then on, they never parked in spot 17 again. Word spread in the building. Patel whispered to me later, "Good for you, dear." They needed a wake-up call. Mr. Ramirez even chuckled when I mentioned it hypothetically. No real consequences for me. The police never followed up, probably because it was harmless chaos. Looking back, it was risky. Could have gone wrong if someone damaged the car or something. But it worked. Jordan avoids me in the hallway now, parks correctly, and the building feels peaceful. The moral here? Sometimes, a little creative revenge is what it takes to set boundaries when words fail. Or maybe I'm just petty. Either way, it taught me to stand up for myself. If you were on my side in this story, smash that like button. It means the world. And if you've got your own parking horror stories or revenge tales, share them in the comments. I read every one. Don't forget to subscribe for more wild Reddit-style